Good morning, Bridge Nation. Welcome to the Public Eye. I'm Ronnie Thwaites. This is the Bridge 99 FM, and I'm joined by the Honorable Pearnel Charles. Morning, sir.
Morning.
Happy to have you. Today is March 23rd. Yesterday, Jamaica marked the arrival of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Prince William, and his wife Kate to Jamaica for their tour of the Caribbean. Some have welcomed them with open arms. You should see the pictures of the hug-ups in the Observer today, while others have protested and questioned the reason for the visit. So that's going to be a topic of conversation. We'll be linking with Chair of the Caribbean Philanthropic Alliance and Chief Executive Officer of the Lasco Chin Foundation, Professor Rosalea Hamilton, later, because their advocacy networks staged the protest at the British High Commission about slavery reparations yesterday, and the visit of the prince and the I don't know why she isn't a princess. She's a duchess, okay? And then, in our link with Irie Jam at 1 o'clock in the global network, the Bridge 99 FM will be welcoming into its studios the first Caribbean-born woman elected to New York City's legislature and Caribbean policy advocate, the Honorable Dr. Una Clarke, well-known Jamaican-American. We'll be happy to have her with us to discuss all manner of issues to do with immigrants to the United States. We'll have to take her up on the progress of the nomination or the confirmation of Judge Jackson.
Doing very well.
Well, I hope so. You've been watching it, I gather, today.
Yes.
And other matters that relate to U.S. Caribbean policy. So, welcome to the Public Eye. We don't skin on this program, we talk it straight, and we welcome our diaspora listeners all over the world. That's what the Bridge is all about. So, Mr. Charles, sir, what is your take on the visit of Mr. William and Miss Kate?
Well, Ronnie, this time I go back to my mother.
Yes.
Because as far as I'm concerned, they're visitors.
Mm-hmm.
They have accepted to come, or they have requested to come to my country.
Right.
I welcome them.
Yeah.
And I hope that they have a good time.
Yeah.
To me, I don't have any time to go and demonstrate to them. As far as I'm concerned, my position on slavery and reparation has gone above demonstration. It's now at the negotiation level, right? So I wouldn't be joining anybody to hold hand to say, I'm talking about slavery. I am at the government and above government level to what can be done to fill in the gap, particularly in training and education for this nation. I don't think that they can do anything other than, to me, embarrassment to them and give the world something to talk about. I'm not interested in that.
Very much your view, sir. What is it that towards education and training that we would want the British government or the British people to do, really?
Well, let's just look at it, Ronnie.
Yes.
Instead of sending me that you're going to send $1 billion to put into the Jamaica tax and whatever you want to call it.
Consolidated fund.
Right.
Yes.
We have a lot of that.
We do.
And we have not, in my opinion, used it to the best of all of us that we're thinking about.
Yes.
But I think Robert Lightburn started a program when he was minister, where I think 50 Jamaicans were permitted to go to Britain. I don't know if it was every 6 months or every year. They were engineers.
Yeah.
And when they finished, they were required to return. We need training for nurses, doctors, engineers, all teachers, all of the profession that, in my opinion, can do better than telling me that you have added a few dollars to the budget.
I did not know of that program you're telling me about. That is an inspired program.
Well, let me tell you how inspired it was. You are required, if you are one of the 20 young men who were selected to go on this engineering program.
This would have been in the 60s.
Yes. You're required to return to Jamaica once you have finished your training.
Right.
And it's along the line that you have been pushing
Yes.
in terms of why are we not using the spaces that are available to train in the various professions?
Yeah.
What not only we give the trainee an opportunity to go and better themselves,
Yeah.
they better us
Right.
in terms of their return to us,
Right.
like our diaspora people are doing.
do. Yeah.
But we don't have enough training, enough trained personnel. Let's understand one thing. If you train 100, expect that 40 or 30 or 40 is going to do their own thing.
Yeah.
So let us say you're going to be able to deal with 55 or 60%.
Yes.
They're still better off.
Still better off.
Even those who don't come back,
Yes.
they send back something.
Can contribute.
And let me tell you something. I don't know if you have looked at it. One thing about the Jamaican, anywhere he is, he remembers somebody named District or some family or some friend. And I remember when I was at country and the farm worker man come, him carry some dungaree, him carry some this as people. And when barrel come, some have on some name of Miss Auntie
Sure,
died,
sure,
Auntie this
sure.
and this. So we are a loving people.
Yeah.
And I don't think, you wouldn't see me, because I think that I would join any group that is calling on the government to now sit down with the government of the United Kingdom and work out the quickest formula that we can decide.
So hold on now, sir. Let me understand this, because I love when we take concepts
Yes.
and make it refine them into policy.
Yes.
And when we can develop strategy from that.
Yes.
And you've just done that.
Yes.
Because we are assuming and accepting that there is a reparation to be made. Yes. We're taking that into policy now for education and training.
Yes.
And a strategy you're remembering, which can be revived,
Oh, yes.
where if we said to the British, look, give us 100 scholarships in engineering, 150 in nursing, whatever, quantified. These are institutions that already exist. These are things that can happen starting September next year or this year.
These are things that you can use some of the money to do over there and send us back man and money in man.
Yes, and which has a multiplier effect, because the only thing that I would add, if it were possible, to the let's call it the Lightman principle, would be that those who come back up, when they come back, there must be a transfer of technology from what they have learned.
No, but that's a part of the package.
Yes, okay.
That's a part of the package. With the reason why the engineer comes back to Jamaica is that we want him to work in Jamaica
and to train and teach.
To train
Look at
others.
that. Look at that.
Right?
No, that's a very practical thing, and that has a multiplier, a dollar multiplier effect in productivity, in personal advancement. Okay, and it doesn't involve any guilt trip. It doesn't involve any truth and reconciliation. All that pass. What did you say at the outset? You gone beyond that.
We have gone beyond that.
Okay.
Many, in fact, from God it is.
So before we nudge up our teeth then, about how wicked George III was, and Penn and Venables and Oliver Cromwell.
Yes.
Come now. This is the practical help that we need. Yes, we can. Mike Henry will add it up for us. He will quantify it.
But tell you another way. We need this.
I love this
because we help you. When we were taking the battering and producing the sugar and producing, it was building your country.
And go to war and die for you.
Right, it was building your country. You have been built. Now we are back here. Our generation, future, is still here. So help us now. Right?
So the University of Glasgow, I think it was, that admitted that it had benefited from slavery.
Right.
Rather than we say, no. Rather than we do that and point finger and say how wicked your forebears were, and we're going to tear down the statue. We're going to say, give us 100 scholarships a year.
Right. We're going to say, train
Our
our
people.
people.
Yeah.
Some go and get work over there
Yes.
and send back money.
Sure.
And some are, because part of the package is
Come back for a
you're
while.
coming back to Jamaica
Yeah.
to train other
Bond you.
Jamaicans and to work with us.
Right.
Follow me?
So I would. This is practical now, and it strikes me as far more feasible and possible than some of what I've been hearing. This is what we're going to be putting.
But I tell you one thing.
Yes.
I would not agree,
Yes.
whether it's JLP or PNP,
Uh-huh.
to say to the British, to the Commonwealth or what was it, send us $1 billion to the Ministry of Finance. To do what?
That would go through the system like a dose of salt.
No, it couldn't even block out the holes that are there. So I am saying, and you have put quantity in it, but we have thousands of untrained Jamaicans.
Yes.
Ronnie, when I took the Ministry of Labour, it was given to me, I think 70% of our tradesmen were not
Certified. No, and it's the same case. You would have done your best, other ministers as well, but the proportion is still unacceptably high.
Unacceptable. And some cannot be certified because they need further training.
Yeah.
So if you want to send some trainers come here,
Well,
that part of the package,
sure, it can work that way.
I don't have a problem.
No.
But don't tell me you're looking at money because I man want the money out of what my great grandfather never did.
The liquid tech.
Forget with that.
This is the Public Eye. You won't find another program anywhere on Caribbean media, I dare to say, with this kind of penetrative discussion, to be added to in just a moment by Professor Rosalea Hamilton, Chair of the Caribbean Philanthropic Alliance. She'll tell us what that is, and well known as Chief Executive Officer of the Lasco Chin Foundation. Stay tuned. This is the Bridge Nation on Instagram and the Bridge 99 FM, and you can share your comments with us using the hashtag Public Eye Open Mind. Soon come. Hello, Rosalie. Welcome.
Hello and welcome. Let me first congratulate you both. This is truly awesome.
Yes. Well, we do it as a symbol and a sign of the fact that people, two persons who have been in public service, Pearnel much longer than I, can have differing political views, but we can coincide on a variety of national issues. You think the example might influence the others and the nation?
Rosie, before you answer,
Rosie,
before you
such
answer,
an important step.
Before you answer, let me add one. Ronnie and myself agree that our democracy is in danger if there is one side overwhelmingly and none in the other side. And we want to see our country. We don't have a problem with two sides, but we want two sides that have an objective of development for our people and our country. What do you say about that?
Absolutely. And we're going to differ on how we should develop and what are the approaches and strategies. But as long as we remember we're going to the same goal, the betterment of our people, then, we find common ground on which we work.
Wonderful. Rosalie, thank you for that encouragement. What is the Caribbean Philanthropic Alliance? Give us a background. Tell us what your purposes are.
Very, very quickly, we came into being in 2020, actually 2019, and we recognized that we need to harness philanthropy, not just within Jamaica, across the region, to tackle the tremendous set of problems that we face. And many of these problems are embodied in the Sustainable Development Goals. And so we felt that if we could try to coordinate and just collaborate around shared objectives to achieve these goals, then perhaps we could do more. And so 2020 represented that last 10-year sprint to achieving these goals by 2030. And we felt that the one thing we can all agree on across the Caribbean is the importance of protecting our environment and addressing climate change. And so we started with a Caribbean Tree Planted Project, and that was our first focus. And, we met and surpassed our target. We wanted to plant 1 million trees across the Caribbean, and we did 1.5 million trees across the Caribbean. And, we've been collaborating since.
Great. You were active yesterday in the protest for reparations, and I don't know, at the occasion, I don't want to say in opposition to, or you'll tell me, of the so-called royal visit. Why?
Well, let me say that my activities yesterday was part of the work of the Advocates Network. And in fact, I must make the link to what you're trying to do, because in civil society, it's important that in spite of our differences, we find ways to collaborate to achieve the same goals. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to respond by starting there, because I see it as so important. These are very, very, very difficult issues Jamaica faces today. And so we thought we could all agree on the need to promote human rights and to advocate for better governance. So those are two broad objectives. Now, within those are a range of issues, including historic human rights abuses. And what does that mean for us as we begin to tackle some of the issues that we face? And so, we came together very quickly, because most of us didn't know much about the visit, the timing, etc. When we did find out, we said, now is a good occasion to educate the public about that history. And so, and to support and strengthen the demands by the government and CARICOM heads to push towards an apology and reparations. And so we really see it as a kind of two-pronged approach. One, we support and endorse, and that's what we did through the open letter, right? We felt that the visit may have been ill-timed because, we're still in the throes of COVID and so on, but, we're not going to celebrate your 70 years of independence of your grandmother. We think that not enough has done to address our problems. But with respect to the 60th anniversary, yes, there's a lot to celebrate. We have overcome a lot against tremendous odds, and we must celebrate that. But we still have a long way to go.
Let me ask you this, Rosamond. Pearnel, help me. Prince and the Duchess, they were invited here by the government of Jamaica, and if so, why?
I don't know if
that's a question we'd want to answer.
I don't know.
You asked.
I don't know if they were invited by the government of Jamaica.
They couldn't come otherwise, huh? And get all army and salute and thing.
Hold on. I don't know. You've asked a question. I don't know. My position is quite clear. They have nothing to do as far as I'm concerned. The government of Jamaica, 60 years ago, were free to become an independent country and a republic. 60 years.
And we decided not to.
Hold on, come more than that. Right now, it is not the prince or the duchess or who is holding us back. It's we are holding ourselves. The demonstration should be against us. In fact, they don't have anything to do with it. They are a generation away, and many of them have indicated that they are against slavery. If they were there, they would be. And I have no doubt. But my point is quite simple, and different from Rosie and others. It is us who have failed to demonstrate what we want, demonstrate for it, organize for it, and get it. From Bustamante and Norman Manley sign and come down here from Britain, they could have come down and declare that we are an independent republic.
Okay,
right? But and we could have gone on to do what we have discussed this morning. How do we get you to agree that we have been set back for years in our development, our training, our planning, and all of this, and we want that from you, back what we have given to you. We have helped you to become developed. We have helped you to train yours, and you must now do that for us. That is where my demonstration will be joining. not against two visitors. I think it's out of order.
Rosalie, what do you think?
Oh dear. Well, let me say that there's no disagreement, Pearnel, with respect to the obligation that we have to fix our country. And you're absolutely right. We should have done it from independence. Having said that, the two young royals are direct beneficiaries of a colonial legacy. Their parents and grandparents and great-grandparents were owners of the Royal African Company that started the trafficking of Africans and enslavement of Africans. They have benefited financially. Now, they saw it fit then to provide 20 million pounds, right, to the enslavers. And that payment continued to 2015. We feel that you have to come to grips with that past. An apology, we're asking exactly what the government is doing. I don't know if you disagree with the government's position and CARICOM's position.
Both of us voted for it.
Our position is exactly aligned of the apology and agreement. And we say more, that the transition we need, that republic that is necessary, must not only come to grips with the past in severing the political arrangements with the Queen and Head of State, but we must do more to change the institutional arrangements that persist. And I would put to you that the reason we didn't do it then, and we're hesitating now, we have bipartisan support since 1995, right? The reason we've done it is because there's an acceptance of the governance structure and much of the colonial structures as okay, not a problem, and we're simply just managing. And both political parties simply try to manage a flawed structure. A structure that produces young people coming out of the school system incapable of functioning in the modern world. Half of them almost illiterate.
Rosie, let me ask you a question.
We have unacceptable. That's the mental slavery that we have to get rid of.
Let me ask you a question. What if an announcement from somewhere in Britain, either from the Parliament, Lords, aware that we deserve to get 3 top universities built in Jamaica to train up to 10,000 the Jamaicans per year as part of the payment that our generation didn't work, didn't get beaten, but our generation get beaten. We now are going to benefit from a development that the world is going to get development from. What is this reparation that we want? Some man hold up flag saying wanting money. What the hell is that?
There are different interpretations of that reparations, and that might be the common man's view.
No, but you can't allow that to happen.
No, I want to be clear that we're talking about our government supporting and signing on to a CARICOM 10-point plan. And in that 10-point plan, it's very clear that the reparations include cultural institutions.
I wish they would put me and Ronnie on the negotiating team.
No hope.
Because we would have.
Let's just go through the plan. It starts with a formal apology. It starts with reparations, arrangements for that. It includes indigenous people's development. The ancestors of indigenous people are still around today. Cultural institution, public health issues, illiteracy, an African knowledge program, psychological rehabilitation, technological transport, and more. Debt issues. But it is comprehensive. It's not ideal. We could tweak, but it's not simply about cash.
Let me ask you something, both of you. While people of the advocacy network and others were protesting yesterday in front of the British High Commission,
what were they asking for?
Our two political parties were in Parliament swinging at each other, calling each other who not ready, which one is fool, and which one is anti-poor. There is a high macabre tragedy about that, Professor Hamilton. We can agree on a common cause, whether it is we've passed the resolution. Both Pearnel and I must have voted for it in 2015. McHenry's resolution. It was passed unanimously. Yeah. Yes. But in terms all of that 10-point plan, we are expecting the British people to give us those things, Prof.
Well, my view is that whether they give us or not, these are issues that we have to grapple with. For example,
no doubt,
is something that can be done.
Illiteracy, mercy. That is
absolutely.
That is one that yes.
But
I'm just saying things like debt cancellation is something that is within their grasp. They can help to alleviate some of the debt that we have, the burden that we have, and free up our own resources to do stuff. But importantly, I want to come back to Pearnel's point, because I want it to be very clear that I agree with you. I think that the issues fundamentally turn on us. It's our responsibility to create a nation. And the question we have to ask is why? Why have successive administrations perpetuated these norms? So today, we have an education system that was clearly detailed and articulated in that task force report. And it tells us we have a failing school system. I mean, Ronnie, you are Minister of Education. You can speak to that issue.
Rosie, this is why
those are challenges within our hands. And the question is, why have we not done more?
Well,
this is why I am uncomfortable with some of our people picking up some broad cardboard box with some bad spelling on it about what they want to do. I want to see this move to a level where Ronnie and I agree that Jamaica doesn't even have a school that is going to be totally technology. We don't even have a university. We don't have a university that is going to train 5,000 degree people in 5 years. We don't have that.
Well, we do, but we need.
Where do we have 5,000?
I'm referring to the institution Rosalea served for many years, the University of Technology.
Yes, but those people are paying for it, Ronnie.
Yes, okay, sure, no.
The point I'm talking about, in addition to that,
Indeed.
In other words, one in Montego Bay, one in Manchester,
okay.
And I don't want to leave.
I mean, the Prime Minister is saying again that we need these STEM academies, and he's committed that the government will build 6 of them. I know he doesn't have the money for that at all. Things like this can form the part of a negotiated reparation,
right.
Rosalie.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is what, again, is implied in the plan.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fixed in stone. I think once they start the process,
right.
These are the issues. And it is my hope that this plan, if we start that process, this is not something that the heads decide. It's very interesting hearing the perspective of both of you as ex-parliamentarians, because your voice, like my voice, it's not here nor there unless we have personal links to these politicians. Our voices are muted.
Rosie,
so we need a different governance structure where our voices
I don't think we can continue.
Rosie, call me to the boardroom. Don't call me to the ballroom. I am ready to sit down and throw my experience, my ideas, my political feeling, not against the Duke and Duchess down here, against those who in our own boardroom have the right to proceed. And what are we doing?
Yeah, but let's get some symbols straight. First of all, William and Kate can't do nothing. The protest against them is an understandable symbol, but they have no political power.
All right.
Yes, that's one. 2, we continue to send mixed signals. Our Prime Minister accepted appointment to Her Majesty the Queen's Privy Council last year. Why? And then I'm going back to my original question. With the ferment towards asking the Queen to understand that we are stepping aside from her being our head of state,
which he, as Prime Minister, said last week.
Well, yes, but then, what is the purpose of inviting these people here?
Ronnie,
If they said they wanted to come,
what
then
is wrong in that?
no, it's
No.
It's
If they are tourists,
let me use a word. They're that's tone deaf.
No. I am not tone deaf. Listen to me.
Not stone deaf. Tone deaf.
Me not rock stone deaf and not tone or not. My point is quite simple, Ronnie.
Yes.
If those people want to come to Jamaica, they cannot help me or help you in this program.
No.
They can't go back to Parliament say to them.
So I want to ask another question then about that. They have no position in Parliament in England.
Exactly.
What you have in England is Rosalie, is Mr. Boris Johnson, who several years ago wrote that the Jamaicans have the bodies of giants and the brains of peas.
Yes.
Yes.
So you want to put the brain.
Straight rudeness. You're listening to me, hearing me?
We want to put giant in the brain now.
Okay. And we faced yesterday. Do anybody see the juxtapositions? A group of conscious people protesting, correctly or advisedly or not, a parliament which sits down and then tears itself apart when we can't afford to do that. That only digs us deeper into the mire that the British left us in. Yes, and thirdly, you have scores and scores of people, Professor Hamilton, sticking their black hands through chain link to shake the white hand of these people. Where is our head, Prof?
Well, it's again, it's we are all products of a system that has created what we've been talking about for a long time. Bob Marley sings about it: mental slavery. Right? And that takes many forms. It's about the perpetuation of colonial norms and understanding about who we are and the kinds of relevant institutions we need in order to survive. Yeah? And some of us feel these institutions are inadequate, they must change. And some of us are comfortable with them and just think we just have to have the right leaders. I think after 60 years, we need a deeper conversation about the relevance of some of these arrangements. And I think we have a great opportunity now with that task force report
to
look at our education system and to end the apartheid in education.
And let's deal with that as a substantial area. This is where Pearnel and yourself and myself agree. That education and training is one important gift or reparation that the British, who we have gifted with our lives, our bodies, or from slavery time, from the African Middle Passage, right through to the Second World War, yes, right through to the Windrush people, etc. There's whole heaps there. Just deal with that one thing. We need some symbols, okay? We need to tell the Prime Minister, please, just give back the thing about the Privy Council in England, because that no make calling you Right Honourable doesn't. In fact, it's a countersign.
No, it was Right Honourable before.
No, or it was Most Honourable before. No, he's Right Honourable.
So,
this feudal nonsense has to stop. Secondly, our wonderful senior lawyers. Yes.
Yeah, with the greatest of respect, it's not the Prime Minister one in this. This is broader than the Prime Minister.
No, it's him, man.
The symbols, yes. Well,
him take it. It's him one have it.
Number one symbols. Yeah. And there are lawyers who are fighting for it.
No, and the Queen's Council.
Yes.
From 1st of April. It would be an elevation of April Fool's Day, Rosalie, if we just said from now on we are Senior Council. We are not the Queen's Council anymore. Yes.
No,
and I mean just do things that show that we are trying hard to grapple with the mental slavery. We, there are so many things that we can. In the courthouse, every time the court is sitting, all the
things are stamped.
Yes.
The British, Her Majesty's
crown,
government.
Yes. Rule Britannia. Britannia rules the ways. Long live the Queen. May she reign over us, happy and glorious. What kind of thing is that in Jamaica?
You know what I saw last night?
Yes, sir.
That every policeman
of Crown,
all the buttons,
yes, sir,
is a crown.
Yes, sir.
All the Justice of the Peace stamp is a crown.
Yes.
And what I wanted to tell Rosie, what I am concerned about our democracy as to where it might fall down. Mm-hmm. If we are going to ask the people of Jamaica to take a decision now, by voting, right? We have seen people vote not to leave the Queen. We have seen it.
Yeah, but we must respectfully say
Yes.
that you can't pander to that.
No. I'm not. No. But I'm not one of those who is going to not look. There's a gully there. But
look
the
here.
point is, we must now train those people.
But you can't train them unless you have a clear set of symbols.
But we have a
We
clear
don't.
set of symbols.
We don't. We look at how the Governor General dress up and go on.
But the Governor General
Wears
represents
an insignia with a white angel on a
the
black
governor.
man head.
No. With the greatest of respect,
Uh-huh.
the Governor General was told that he represents Her Majesty.
Who tell him?
That's what the Constitution says.
No, okay. So if
Hold on.
no.
That's what the Constitution says.
Okay, so accepting that, but if Sir Patrick would be a sign for the future and just be less of the ostensible symbol of the Queen.
Then he cannot represent the Queen.
Oh,
He must resign and
he
go out and
have to
business.
dress like her and put the sash on.
No. The point is this, and that is why me and
Frankly,
you.
me no business with him representing the Queen.
No, you don't business.
No,
But until you go back to Parliament,
but them not gonna do it.
are organized.
Listen to me. You know, Pearnel Charles, Professor Rosalea Hamilton, that this referendum that the Prime Minister speaks blithely about, that not gonna happen now.
No. The Prime Minister does not speak blindly for referendum.
Blithely.
The Constitution of Jamaica that we have inherited before he was born. Because he was born after independence.
So what? So
The Constitution says
Yeah.
that there
no,
must be.
we understand, but it's not going to take place. It hasn't taken place for 60 years.
Ronnie,
Some of us been pushing that long, Rosalie, Pearnel,
and that is why me and you and Rosie must stop telling ourselves that hold up two placards at the
No,
gate.
we're not. Neither.
What I am saying, we must
placard-
now call on the leaders.
Them now. You think you?
But if they don't do it, remove them.
Well, I hope so.
But Colonel, I want to take you on the badge though, because what you're saying is that he was told to wear the badge. Is that what you're saying? So him not wearing it now, he said stop wearing it since 2020.
That one.
So
That
hello.
one.
Hold on.
You can choose. You can make some choices.
The badge.
You can say, listen,
The badge,
if we're
the
going,
badge
if I'm
with
going
St.
to
George having
represent you,
put
I
on the
want to
black
represent-
man head.
Yeah.
Remember? We moved a motion, yes, in Parliament. One of the ones that never got heard. That we should change the name of King's House to Paul Bogle House.
There you go.
Yes,
We can do that. That's the independence we have.
And everybody say, Ronnie, you're mad. You bury that one. You can't do that.
No, because Ronnie,
Ronnie, I thought you were going to talk about
Ronnie
the
was
change
talking
of
to
the
me, and then
oath of office.
The what?
Where parliamentarians are now making an allegiance to the people of Jamaica rather than the Queen.
Yes, that
We
is
did
a step forward.
Rosie, Ronnie came with a resolution to Parliament and organized with me for me and him to agree to capture Jamaica House, capture King's House, and change the name. I said, but Ronnie, we don't have no guns, we don't have no army. How the hell are we going to...
Pearnel, you're just afraid.
Well, and I'm not embarrassed to admit, right, that I have been saying ever since I leave university and come back to Jamaica, it is the government of Jamaica, it is the people of Jamaica. In fact, there was an announcement that the British, I don't know if it's from the Queen's side or the Parliament side.
The Privy Council in England said they would be very much happy if we didn't bring their cases there. And yet we still hang on.
Hold on. They would be very happy if we would declare Republic tomorrow morning.
No, if we didn't continue to bother them as judges of the Privy Council.
If we
we're wasting British taxpayers' money every case we carry there.
So let us make sure that we end this interview positively, because indeed there may be some quixotic purpose to Mr. Charles William and Kate's visit if it is encouraging us. But stop the foolishness now. No? Just say this is the position. Yes. Have Rosalie, have Andrew Holness and Mark Golding sat down yet and plotted the way towards Republican status. And
that we've yet to hear that.
No, we haven't.
We hear that it's going to happen, but we've heard that for more than 20 years.
Well, and frankly, the best talent to take us through the legal maze to do that has not been brought into play. In fact, quite the contrary. Now, these are palpable things that we can do now. I think it was Muta Baruka yesterday who quoted us saying that the mace in Parliament is still the symbol of queenly authority, kingly authority. So
absolutely. So I agree, Pearnel. Those are things we could do, and it begs the question: both of you were in Parliament. Did we try to change the mace?
Why don't you accept, Ronnie? Why don't you accept?
I want action, not a bag of mouth.
That it is
absolutely
not. That it is not the prince or the whoever, or even where the Queen lives. It is this government.
Yes, and I want them to do certain practical things.
We can agree. No debate there.
It is
no debate.
Hold on, because you said something which in my, I don't think you're correct.
Tell me.
The path to republic was path long ago from the beginning. It's set out in the Constitution.
Yeah, but we don't do it. What's the use of it being set out and you don't follow it?
You are saying we haven't taken steps.
No, whatever. None whatever. The path was made. I followed as a young man the discussions about forming the Constitution.
Yes.
And with the greatest of respect to their memory, it was people like Mr. Ashenheim, the late Honorable Hector Winter, a mentor of mine, and others, Mr. J. Leslie Condal, and others, Youngman, a gentleman named Mr. Youngman, and others, who were insisting, against the national spirit, that we should go the way of, we should not try the rupture from empire. Yeah. That what we should do is to find this congenial halfway house where we, in fact, would accept an order in council and coming from the British Parliament. Yes. In other words, them give us something that we did say we want. Yes. And that 60 years after, we still have that.
We haven't asked for it.
We haven't changed it.
We haven't asked for it.
We haven't done it. It's only we can do it. Them no business with us anymore, sir.
Ronnie, we don't have to ask for it.
No.
We have to declare it.
Yes.
Barbados didn't ask for it.
No.
They declare it.
But
we have something in our Constitution which prevents the present Prime Minister from getting up tomorrow morning and declare that we are a republic.
No, but he
cannot do it.
No, but he can take the steps.
But he's taking the steps.
Which one him take?
Well, he declared.
Which one?
Hold on.
So after beyond the declaration.
Is the first Prime Minister.
Which one he take?
Hold on.
Defend him now, because he needs a QC of your.
No.
I'm teasing you now.
Hold on. Yes, but maybe I have
the same gentleman who accepts to be a member of the Privy Council of Her Majesty is the one taking steps to divorce ourselves from the British control, from the British symbolic control.
Yeah,
that makes sense, Pearnel.
Yeah, but Ronnie.
Pearnel, rest your case.
Hold on. No, I'm not resting my case.
All right, sir.
I am saying that taking that does not prevent the announcement he made the other day that we are now putting the thing together to have our republic.
Believe me, I am over 70 and I've heard that so many times that this is about every party.
You heard that when you were in your own cabinet?
Yes, man. Every party manifesto from the days of yore said that. And we are still traipsing to the Privy Council for the, as Mr. Siaga said, for the best law comes from the Privy Council. What a contempt that statement was from a man I am dying to admire. Yes?
The best law comes from the Privy Council?
Yes.
Law is
pure
law.
Was
I think what he means is
objective law.
I think he means the best decisions.
Boy, I tell you, we have a fervent defender here, Prof.
No. You see, I'm a realist, Ronnie.
Yes, I know.
And we don't look at these things, like I said to Mrs. Hamilton, that as far as I am concerned, she could not get me to accompany her on any bank side holding up any cardboard. But she can get me 24 hours a day to organize with her for the boardroom discussion, because I think I would love to hear, Ronnie, before I pass, that we are a republic.
Yeah.
I would hear that all the policemen
let me end
all the QC's gone.
Yeah, let me end with a story.
And you won't get no QC.
Never deserved it. Let me end with a story. When Mr. Cameron came here, Rosalie, and there was supposed to be this, was it £1 billion or something, along with separate from the prison thing, that was going to be available. I don't remember if it was connected or not. I put in a big effort in the place where I served in those days, that money should be available for the reconstruction of education. And I was told that it can't go so. First of all, it is...
How do you mean was told that? By who? By Andrew?
No.
By who?
No, just when the party that I am concerned with...
was Prime Minister?
Yes. She never said it, but others did. And the point is that we are not serious about charting our own future that is inclusive and is not a question of finding a little money here or there to throw to the poor or this, but rather a radical reorientation and based on a respect for the dignity and potential of every God-blessed Jamaican we have.
Well, guess what happened a while ago? You have just read what both of us have written.
I'm happy to. I'll sign on underneath you. Prof. Hamilton, what's the next step before we have to go?
The next step is exactly along the lines of Pearnel, Charles. I mean, we started by trying to hold our government accountable for its actions. Yeah. There are a number of things that we've been doing. We think that the way forward is to strengthen civic activism.
Right.
We need a framework in which ordinary citizens have a voice. And let me just say, Mr. Charles, I know you won't come board with me, but what we did was not simply to bring attention and hand a letter to the royals yesterday in front of British High Commission, but we created a framework in which we could dialogue with each other. There was an old gentleman, a Rastafarian, who came out of the hills of above rocks, and he told me he heard what we were saying. And he said it resonated because it's what he and his people have been saying in the reparation movements among Rastafarians for decades in Jamaica. And he said he wanted to come and see today what's happening. That man said to me, he's tired of fighting. We gave voice to those people who would not be part of your boardroom conversation, but we were able to say, yes, we're on your side. You've spoken long and hard. Your voices have not been heard. Maybe if we add to it, our collective voices can be heard. But you're absolutely right, Mr. Charles. In the final analysis, we have to create and build a nation. And it must be an inclusive one where your voice as a retired parliamentarian, both of you, can have a say, who better understand the runnings of governance and see a side of a society better than most of us. And why should your voices be, you're relying on civil society through this network for Jamaicans to hear your voice, but you ought to have a way to influence decisions.
Well, the way
and that I think is a core issue in the institutional arrangements we need to put in place going forward.
As you know, the bridge is primarily directed towards our diaspora audience, and they who have had to go abroad or have chosen to go abroad to better themselves
also want a voice.
Better us deserve a voice, and we are the channel at least to encourage and excite them, and you've contributed so much today. There's a pew on the PublicEye on the Bridge 99 anytime for Professor Rosalea Hamilton of the Advocacy Network and the Caribbean Philanthropic Alliance. Thanks so much for today. Well done.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks again for the awesome job that you're both doing.
Thank you, Rosie, and we await the invitation for Ronnie and myself to join you.
You're welcome to the Advocates Network, no problem.
You see that?
Not on this bank side, in the boardroom, not on the bank side.
All right, we'll give you a boardroom invitation, but we hope that you come join us on the street side as well so we can talk to the average man.
All right, thanks so much. This is the PublicEye and the Open Mind on the Bridge 99 FM. We soon come back. What a pleasure. Pearnel Charles and myself welcome Dr. Una Clarke, former New York City Council Member, first Caribbean-born woman elected to the Legislature of the United States. Dr. Una, welcome home.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be home. Now I like the Jamaican breeze.
Indeed, now you like the Jamaican breeze. Yes.
And I want to take the opportunity to congratulate you for the role that you have played in the Congress, and particularly on behalf of the black people in America. And you have given a voice at the local and national level. And your daughter, I understand, is in a similar position.
Yes, my daughter is in a better position. She's a member of Congress. If you remember, she came to Jamaica with our former President Barack Obama.
Yes.
She was that beautiful, beautiful Jamaican woman that came off the plane with Barack Obama.
I tell you.
And I taught her how to handle herself to make sure that our politics is something that empowers our people, our community, wherever we are.
Let me tell you, she never let you down.
Never did. Let's link with our friends at Irie Jam. Beau Regard.
Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good afternoon, New York.
Listen to me.
Good afternoon, Jamaica.
We're welcoming you, welcoming Pearnel, welcoming Dr. Una Clarke, well known to you and Jamaicans everywhere. She's home now, yes. And we're talking about the linkages, the bonds that connect us both. So listen up. Hope things go well. Dr. Una Clarke, a long career of public service. How would you summarize the gift that you have been to Jamaica and to the people of New York City and more generally to black folk everywhere, as Pearnel has noted?
I don't know necessarily that I'm a special gift. I know that I have certain values that were taught to me as a Jamaican, as a child, and I made sure that wherever I go, people know who I am, and what I bring to the table. So it's not about trying to be somebody else or being different. I'm a Jamaican, and I was born a Jamaican and will always be a Jamaican. And so in the legislature, when I was running for public office, I made sure everybody know that I can work for everybody, but I don't need to hide my own identity, and I don't need to hide the gifts and talent that God has given me to work on behalf of everybody, but more so on behalf of black people, so that everybody know that our brain power is our real power.
Where did you learn those values?
Right in St. Elizabeth, Appleton Sugar Estate, Silo, Balaclava, Maroon Town.
Hey. Yes.
Maroon Town.
Maroon
I am a real Maroon. My
Yeah.
mother is an compound Maroon by the name of Rowe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now listen, you have carried those values. How can they be transmitted when, for example, you're dealing with a wider context in an urban area in New York? Have you found are people receptive to those values?
People are receptive if you put it in the proper perspective, that people know that you bring something to the table, and that which you bring is the real you, and they can value that. You can value other people. I represented people from just about every nation in the world. So if I went to the Pakistani community, I was the same Una Clarke. If I went to the Turkish community, I was the same Una Clarke. If I went to the Russian community, I was the same Una Clarke. Barbadian, Trinidadian, they know me. Our style is the same. So as a Caribbean American, we all have common values that are not very much different. But for the other ethnic communities, the Jewish community, I was their educational consultant before I ran for public office. And when I ran for public office, the Crown Heights Jewish community was right behind me.
Really?
Because I helped to educate their children.
Yes.
The children called me Mora Una.
Mora Una.
Yeah, which means a teacher. So,
Yes.
So of course, I made sure that people value me as I value them.
How have you related to Jamaica and your Jamaicanness during these years? Because Jamaica becomes so small, almost insignificant in the broader context of the metropolitan world. It's so?
Jamaicans are everywhere. Jamaicans have gifts and talent just about everywhere. You can find a Jamaican in every aspect of life in the United States of America. From the Department of Justice to the streets of Brooklyn. Jamaicans are making their mark based on their gifts and their own talent, and I applaud that. But for me, elevating the Caribbean American community was a great joy and pride. So whether a nation only had 10,000 people on the island or as big as our large Jamaica,
Yes.
I made sure that everybody understood their value and that they are part of the process. And when I ran for public office, just about every ethnic community went out and did voter registration in order to make sure that I could win.
Well, that is a lesson, Pearnel, to us.
Yes.
We tend to be scrapping among ourselves. But you, in a more difficult environment, found the way in order to be inclusive. What you say, sir?
Yeah, well, one of the things that she did is that there are many minority of various nations.
Yes.
And she was able to plug them together, whether you're from Pakistan, South America,
Bangladesh.
Really?
Anywhere, she was able to put
Across language, culture.
a little nation together in America.
Yeah, the bottom line is to make sure that people know that you value them and that their contribution is as important as your contribution.
You have lived abroad for many years, Dr. Una Clarke, and we have to face the fact that the American nation is significantly divided. It's almost there almost appear to be irreconcilable differences at this stage. I'm drawing, Dr. Una Pearnel, the instance now of the haranguing that's going on against Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson for the position in the Supreme Court. There is nobody can say that she isn't qualified, and yet she's being put through put on a cross to defend herself. What is the basis of the hatred, the misunderstanding?
Whether we want to believe it or not, there is a racist.
Clearly.
There's a racist group in the United States of America, and they want to remain in power, and they will do whatever they have to do to remain in power. There are groups that feel threatened by the number of minorities that have come together. They know they can't touch her brain power and her understanding of the law and the Constitution of the United States of America. So they will come up with all of the pettiness that they can come up with. And the ones that are coming up with the most petty are the least educated, the least competent, and the least among them. So all they have is a big mouth to harangue her. But in the final analysis, I'm sure that she'll be confirmed. She will be confirmed. Yeah.
Well, I really hope so, because
she has the vote to be confirmed.
I hope so.
And but it's a character of the United States. People going to those positions are, my heart say Harlem Pool, right? But I think that being a black woman is frightening to some of the people in the United States. And there is a statement, I don't know if there's anything to back it up, that in another few years, maybe 20, 30 years, the white population will be a minority in America.
It is almost a minority right now.
Right, and so it is a frightening position to take this brilliant black woman. One of the Republicans yesterday spent all of his time praising her brain power, praising how bright she was. You follow me?
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. She'll be all right. And there are going to be more.
She may be all right, Pearnel, you're correct.
There are going to be more.
My concern is that there's a mentality. Una Clarke is identifying it, I think, correctly for its racist roots. This is the most powerful nation of the world. This is the talisman of democracy. And when we see things happen that demean that, it is disappointing. It is a blot on our civilization. And we in Jamaica, as you know, are very imitative people. We follow fashion, Miss Una.
I know that.
Yes. And therefore, when we see all of this bad behavior go on in the Senate of the United States, it doesn't encourage good behavior down at Gordon House, Mr. Charles.
But I want to ask you this: is there any hope in a new generation, the generation that are coming, the younger generation? Is there any signal that they're going to move away from that old? You know what I saw when Barack Obama was elected the second time? 2 Americans stood up in Florida, look at each other and said, what the hell did we just do? Did we put a black man from the cotton field to the White House? Now, that generation, whether they inherited or created it, it's there. My hope, though, and you need to tell me, is there any sign that the younger generation is going to move away from that?
I went to the United States during the first civil rights movement. Just before the civil rights movement, I saw George Wallace and Will Connor. I know when they blocked the doors when black students could not get into the schools.
Yes.
And at the end of the civil rights movement and after the death of Martin Luther King, I thought that we had won a victory and that we would never have to go back there. We're right there right now. So the more white Americans, racist Americans, and because I don't think it's every white person, the more we look to what the future could bring and what democracy means. That's why we are on the verge of where we are right now. That's why the 6th of January came. There are people scared as hell that minorities, black people in particular, can be the persons who determine what happens in America. So we should not think that after the civil rights movement, when we thought we could go to Harvard, Yale, and whatever, and while we're in the same classroom, and people think that we have the same brain power, everybody think that we're getting in there because of privilege. They don't believe that you are as smart or smarter than they are, and forever they will try to put you down.
They don't believe that you should. They don't believe, and they are frightened.
They are
to
frightened.
see that they are educating us to the level where we are going to dictate certain things to them. Now, I am not totally out of the room, because there are young people, a new generation, in my opinion, that is moving away from that old block of if you're black, go to the back.
Let me tell you, when Swerna was killed in Alabama during the civil rights movement, we thought that these young Jewish guys who were marching around with black people and gave their life then, we thought that at the end of that struggle, we would not have to struggle again. We are in the struggle right now, and a tougher struggle than we were in before, because the Ku Klux Klan, they're still wearing hoods right now, but there were less of them in hoods. But now they're doing more than wearing hoods. They are right up there in their 3-piece suit. They are in Congress. They are in the Senate, and they can voice their opinion and try to switch legislation in their favor. So we have to be smart than smarter to know when they are when they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes.
What has caused the backsliding?
I think fear of minorities, black people in particular, being in charge and being in power. And I think Barack Obama's presidency and all that he's done, they wanna rewrite all of that, or to make sure that they can say in history that he did nothing.
I wish to put forward the view to both of you, seasoned political students of politics and practitioners, that the persona and the ideology of Donald Trump has aggravated the situation to the point where you can be saying that the struggle is even more difficult now than it was when the first victories were won.
I think he encouraged that demonstration that brought out the Proud Boys or whatever other boys they are, and those boys gotta be cut down by any means necessary. We cannot step back and we cannot go back. And for anybody who think that he can run for president again, I think that's a bunch of fools.
Well, that's
let me
some serious thing. Hold your comment. We need to take the break. Yeah. When we come back on the Public Eye, Dr. Una Clarke has been an advocate for immigration considerations, concerns, reforms during her public life. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about the linkages that persist? Are they stronger? Are they weaker with the Jamaicans who have taken up residence in the tri-state area, in the diaspora generally? This is the Public Eye on the Bridge. We'll soon come back. Thanks for joining us on the Bridge. It's a meeting place for Jamaicans all over the world, in the diaspora. That's our focus. That's why we link with the Irie Jam Radio in New York, our sister station, engaging a discussion this afternoon with Dr. Una Clarke, Jamaican-American public servant, come home now, Honorable Pearnel Charles, redoubtable Jamaican political and trade union leader. Dr. Una Clarke, look at the issue of immigration to the United States over the years of your engagement. Are things more humane now? Are they easier or are they more difficult?
I think Trump rolled back just about everything we had in place. And if you will remember, when I was a member of the City Council, I got Caribbean teachers to come, yes, especially in the schools where majority of the students were Caribbean Americans, yes, and where the teachers didn't understand not even their behavior, but their approach, yes, to learning or their learning styles. And I know through that experience, the difference that it made, having somebody that understand you when you say your little patois in the classroom, somebody who can interpret what you say and can say, well, it may not be the English you're looking for, but it's English anyway. So I think all of that makes a difference, and we have to continue to push forward, Caribbean Americans in particular, because we've made enormous difference in the United States of America, and we can't step back now from the contribution that we've made, and we have to push against the Republicans and the craziness that Trump has caused, and the discomfort that it brings to everybody. When you put a wall in the southern border and say you can't come into the United States of America, it says, send me your tired and your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. I went to America. I don't think I owe America. I think America now owe me because I've paid back my debt, and I've paid it back in full, and even more by promoting the best interests of our democracy and the way in which America should operate.
Is that feeling the same feeling that Beau Regard and the audience in the Irie Jam audience in New York is feeling? I'm anxious always for us to be sensitive to what the Jamaicans in the diaspora are thinking, what they ask of their country, how we can better relate to them, even when there are generations. You were born in Jamaica.
I was born in St. Elizabeth.
St. Elizabeth. Look, go on like it that is not Jamaica. This is a St. Ann man, you know. I can't count because I'm a town man. But.
No, when he said St. Ann, you know, let me just describe it. I was born in the Dry Harbor Mountain, where there are no springs, no rivers, there were no paved roads, there were no street lights or electricity or running water. Okay? And the doctor come once every month to look around for the children in the school. And so when a car is coming, you know what happened, Ronnie?
Right.
We all hide us as a black art car.
I just wanted to know it was no different in Thornton, St. Elizabeth, where I'm from.
Yeah.
You know, I went to Thornton School.
Yes. But you know, you see, I'm anxious to pause because here are the two of you, and look at the origins, look at how you grew, and look at where you have been able to reach. That is extraordinary progress. That must give hope and encouragement. But so many have been left behind, whether in the Dry Harbor Mountains or in Thornton. And yet there are still so many who are yearning, who in the Jamaica of today, Una Clarke, Pearnel Charles, who feel that their only hope of really getting somewhere in life is to migrate.
Ronnie, I would like to travel with you one day. I am concerned as to whether the opportunities that are available is being used up in these deeper areas. We had to walk and take bus, and the bus have come once a week or twice a week to get that opportunity. Now it is running daily, and I go down there and see them lean up.
Why? What is it? What is it that we're missing?
Something not turning on them engine.
You know, something happened, Ms. Una, yesterday or 2 days ago, where sadly in Trelawney, a student at the William Knibb High School was murdered.
Yeah, I read that.
Over some ring, some obia ring that the two students are fighting. And I heard the vice principal of the school on radio this morning saying we're going to have to look at the spiritual condition of these students who have been out of school for so long, who perhaps hang on the corner, as Pearnel was just saying he sees. The moral texture of Jamaican life, which was underpinning the two of you in your upliftment, always in the background, that you were there to take every opportunity, to value it, to swallow your spit sometime, to care for others, even as you made your advancement. I'm trying to identify what are those principles that can be transmitted now.
I think there are a couple of things that we need to think about. In our time when we were raised, we only had a radio, we had no television, we had no cell phone. We had no opportunity. Internet. So our pastor would come to the house and visit. Our teachers would come to the house and visit. They would reinforce whatever your parents were able to do for you at home. If they couldn't read and write, the teacher would tell them how to supervise your homework. So although they couldn't do the homework for you, you had to learn the homework. At least the teacher came, and you know that the teacher's presence meant something to your parents, whether they could read or write or not. And I know for my parents in particular, we couldn't play outside until we finish homework. You come home, you do your homework before you can go out on the grass, go play no hide and seek, or run in the cane piece and play no hide and seek. You had to do your homework. Now that our children, Jamaican children, can see what's happening around the world, because they can come home and turn on television and they can see everything that's happening.
Play video game.
Yeah, so there is not the same control and the same power to say, for parents to say, you can't do this and you can't do that. And again, the fact that parents are younger, parents are off doing their thing and children are off doing their thing, and so the twain don't meet.
Well, let me say this to you, because I went traveling into the rural areas and I look and I say, large, I would call it contingents of boys at certain stops. They're all either playing domino or smoking. And I said to myself, what is wrong? Something is missing around. You nearly touched it a while ago. That church factor, where you had to be a Boy Scout at church, even if it's a stick you carry in. Mm-hmm. You have to be a girl thing. Mm-hmm. And that training guided. Some people never like it, but it was religious. It keeps you from certain things. You don't have that anymore. And it falls back long. When I was MP, when I have 100 persons at the parent-teachers meeting, there were 90 mothers. Mm-hmm. The father was absent.
Yeah, but I have a question. When you go to Brooklyn, New York, or Kingston, Jamaica, urban environments, Montego Bay, more and more of our people are living now in urban settings.
Yes.
Some of the homespun wisdom that you both are talking about can't travel, or can it?
It can travel. You take with you. It can travel. You take with you whatever your values are. Wherever you go, it goes with you. And whatever you want to pass on to your children and your grandchildren goes along with your values and how you inculcate those values in
So
the
then
children.
what I'm hearing then is this phenomenal role, essential role, indispensable of caring parents.
That's the key.
That's it, Ronnie.
So
I am telling you, and we have spoken about this every morning.
Yes.
I am telling you what is lacking in training of these, particularly rural students, a parental leadership.
Well,
That one teacher, that one pastor, they can't talk to them anymore. Because Ronnie, when I was there, you see this table? The one radio was a community radio. It was bigger than this table. So now they have everything in their own hands.
Yes, but then but we can't turn back technology. But what I want us to address in this interview is the kind of value system that can be generated, whether among Jamaicans, whether locally or in the diaspora. Because we can point to the deficits. We can point to some of the excellences that you both represent. But we need a strategy, and we need all of us. Pearnel always objects when I start with government, because government has a role, but it's not entirely theirs. We need to have part of our nationalist of values now. We need to rekindle the sense of belonging and the sense of generosity of spirit.
Well, I think that government policy and the way it is enforced or the way it is encouraged becomes a part of of what has to be there. Government policy says you go to school 9 months for the year.
Yes.
And there's a way to track students, and the funding comes based on what the school will do, or what the hospital, what the healthcare center will do, based on what that government policy is, and the enforcement. And you have people who make sure that they support what the policy is, so that when it is implemented, it is being implemented to the benefit of all. And I always said, you go to the rural areas and you make sure. Poor people don't mean that they don't have any brain. When you explain to them what you've given them and why they should protect it, becomes a very important thing. I would go to parent meeting. I talk about my Erasmus Hall High School in central Brooklyn all the time.
Really?
It's the oldest high school in New York. And I would say, when Giuliani wanted to take down the school, I said, like hell, you take it down. It's the oldest. And when your people came, it was a landmark for them. So now that my people are coming, it will remain a landmark. And I put like $90 million to redo and refurbish the school.
Man,
and make sure that it remains right there.
Yes.
And I said, when your forebearers came, they had something to show that they helped to build. You can't take it down in my time as though we don't want it, as though we didn't value it. You're not putting a modern building there. You're going to keep it there as a landmark. I said the same way the Dutch Reformed Church is across the street to show that the Dutch was here. I'm going to leave something to show that the Caribbean Americans were here.
Marvelous. But that's a backbone. That's what Marcus Garvey spoke of. You don't have a wishbone, you have a backbone, right? No, but you could galvanize support because of your leadership, and also because you had a cause. Do the Jamaican people have a cause anymore? Throughout this budget debate that we're just finishing in Parliament, yes, I've asked myself, what is the galvanizing cause that can bring together the Jamaican people? How can we define it, and how can we promote it?
Ronnie, I said two points before you come in. I'm worried. I'm worried because it does not, what we're talking about doesn't seem to go down to the level where they are. It's as if they're standing still waiting. A gap has developed. That stream that carried me and you out of the deepest part of the rural area to join Ronnie in town and move on, right? it's as if it dry up some place. Because what? I go down there, see about 10 men under one tree with one like a computer. What the hell they doing? You and I know. Mm. They're over one thing. There is something that they want to grab and hold. And the diaspora people, brothers and sisters who send something for them, they feel as if they're obligated to send clothes, send money. You're down America, you're down England. Something is missing, Ronnie. I don't know if, and I can't put it on the church because the church is still trying. I can't put it on the mothers. The mothers are still trying.
I put it on two sources. One, I think religious sensibility has lost its practical connection. It's so otherworldly now and concert-like that it has lost a lot of its capacity to mold people in the way that you spoke of the past and coming and visiting your home and being present.
Rather, could I disturb you to go on with this?
Yeah.
This ring that is now taking over as a protection
pagan nonsense.
For children. When we were there, we were taught to pray.
Yeah.
And we were taught who God
now
is.
Now they're taught to wear a ring as a
now
sign.
Now they wear a ring. And they believe in that. Listen, man, if I don't have on my ring, somebody going to worry on me, somebody going to chop me up, somebody going to make me fail. So,
and the other...
Is it this what you're talking about?
It is what I'm talking about. And
is it the church? Who is it?
The other thing I'm quite certain about is that government has to give leadership. The story that Una Clarke has just told about her Erasmus school, it went the way it did because she, as a leader, with some modicum of state power, utilized that for a cause that could galvanize people.
But
people could identify
the other thing is that I didn't do it on my own. I have people behind me who believe the same thing I believe and who I can say, can we have a meeting? Can we talk about this? So they give me the inspiration that if you go and you do this, we are all behind you, Una. So go ahead, take the leadership, and we're right here with you.
That's what Ronnie's talking about. You were able to mobilize them.
Who is the leader in Jamaica now who can mobilize the people of this country?
Me no know.
What are you looking at me for, Ronnie?
I don't want to fully say I'm a stranger, but I ain't in it.
No, but
I think, Ronnie, it might sound like a joke, but the truth is this, that we need to mobilize the young people of this country. And I told you about the 100 that I saw in Central Kingston playing football one evening.
Yeah, but
I asked, where do they go after that?
So this is why Pearnel and I are here. We come from the two opposite political traditions in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. But
and he is black and I am not so black.
Leave the man alone.
The political culture, the political culture does not help us towards galvanizing the energies and motivation of our people. Yesterday afternoon, I say it again, some people were in front of the British High Commission complaining about the treatment of the British people towards Jamaica and historically, and focusing this on the visit of the Prince and his lady, while the elected representatives of this country were in Gordon House, tearing each other apart about how we should spend the little tuppence halfpenny, the quatty that come out of our pockets. What madness!
Yeah, because the politics of the country deserves, is what we're operating under. It's two different political orders.
Yeah, but we can do that. Is something we can do.
Different social orders.
So we have allowed ourselves to be conned into a divisiveness that is going to bring about what George Beckford called persistent poverty.
Yeah, because
we can't even agree on a common approach to reparations. And the sadness.
Because don't forget, we can't agree on the approach to becoming a republic.
Well, look at that. Well, you say we've agreed, but we can't develop the strategy.
We can't develop the strategy.
Yeah, what is happening in the United States now? Perhaps with all of the divisiveness and the resurgence of racism, is this bringing the black community together, Miss Una? Is this creating a steely resolve that no matter how many obstacles people in Georgia put against black people voting, that every one of them is going to go out there and try their best to make sure their ballot is counted? I
don't think everyone will, but I think a majority will.
Well, that's
and the bottom line is
good.
What does the majority want, and how will the majority let their voice be heard and felt?
Yes.
And I feel that the majority, you're not going to find everybody in the same camp at the same time, but whatever camp you're in, you should be loyal and make sure that whatever your views are, that they're heard and felt, and that those who believe in your views can follow those views. And that your leadership should not be you lead one way and then you lean another way. If you're leading, you got to know why you're leading and be consistent about your leadership.
So I have a big question before time runs out on us. What is, project for me, you two distinguished public servants, what is the future of the diaspora movement of Jamaicans in relation to our country? Let me give you a preamble. As you both know, the diaspora now, with their remittances, are what is keeping the Jamaican economy afloat. Over $2 billion United States dollars in the most difficult diaspora pandemic time, obviously stimulated by some of the easement that the government of America granted to people. Yes, but now that money is not there anymore. It run out. Yes, can we look forward? Is it sustainable that Jamaica's foreign exchange stability, our net international reserves, the capacity of the people in the constituency I used to represent, or Pearnel, who unless they get the Western Union, the picnic can't go to school. Is this a sustainable way? Will the people who listening to us on Irie Jam continue this, or do we have to conceive of something different?
I think we need to conceive of something different. But I also think that our role as folks in the diaspora, we should get the respect for what we do. And the bottom line, we do not get the respect for what we do. Somebody will tell you, we will welcome you home and we will do this if you come home. And then when you come home, you get treated like a stranger. So why did you leave Jamaica? I left Jamaica and I've come back a better person to help Jamaica.
Yes.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this. We are concerned, and these are two of us have been demonstrating and expressing to our brothers and sisters right around the world, right? The sacrifices that they have made to be there, the sacrifices that they are making to help us here. We don't seem to demonstrate that appreciation, yet they continue to help and they continue to recognize themselves as Jamaican. They talk Jamaican, they eat Jamaican, they're dying to get our food. They're helping Jamaicans to come and help. So they're doing their part. But as Ronnie is saying, the water is not clear on this side of the river.
I know when we started the diaspora movement during my time, there were certain things that the legislature here would do to ensure our participation is well recognized.
Yeah.
I was one of the ones who was against coming from abroad to come and vote in Jamaica. I said, I don't mind if the Dominican Republic do it, but Jamaicans shouldn't do it, because if we come home, we will sway things, maybe in a direction that will not help all the Jamaicans that we want to help. But there are other roles that we can play and that we should be able to play, and government should acknowledge that and make sure that that participation is a healthy participation, not when you leave the room, somebody sus upon you.
I like us to be granular. There's a proposal, we've been talking about it here, Ms. Una, that in the constitutional reform, which is supposed to be talked about now, that there should be some seats in the Senate, 2 or 3 seats in the Senate reserved for diaspora representatives. Now, that's different from the vote. that you spoke about. But this is a representation that the diaspora, members in the diaspora would choose, and they would be engaged, and they would have a vote at that level, and they would represent diaspora interests. Is that something you would think of?
I would think of anything that gives us a voice, and a voice that is a meaningful voice.
Yes.
I just don't want
controlling
tapping,
voice.
a tapping, like when you have ice cream and you put a little tapping on it.
Cosmetic.
I meant meaningful.
Meaningful.
And that representative, wherever the representative come from, Canada, United States, England, whatever,
Yes.
that person comes with a direct understanding of what their role will be on behalf of our residents abroad.
Sure. Well, I want us to push that if I can get Sir Charles' support.
Well, Ronnie, my reservation is because I know, I have seen it. I'm a practical man. And I know what the Constitution says no. And I know if the PNP decide to give up one of their seats, and the JLP decide to give up two of their seats.
There are more chairs in the place, man, because we don't have, nobody has to give up anything to add something.
No, but you mean, okay. Well, even if you do that, Ronnie, they are not going to give up that 2/3 position.
Close, yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That we have gotten a lot of credit for around the world.
But it's not serving us. We might have got credit, but it is leaving out a vital element of your body politic, which is the Jamaicans who live abroad.
Yes, well.
So how can you can't find every reason not to respond to that?
You are aware that as far as you and I are concerned, we have said it in the mornings, we have said it to the Canadians, the Americans, those in Britain, and those as far as Scotland, because we discover people all around the world. We feel that they're not only to give their hard-earned money and food and clothing and other things to the Jamaican people, but they should be a part of our program.
I think it's very important.
I said the Prime Minister make an application. A man told me, he said he was so surprised that people are sending to ask him to send a gun because he need a gun to protect himself.
No, but I mean, So we need to bolster the representation, and I think the strong word we're getting once again from Una Clarke is, look, we're serious. We have shown the way. This is the diaspora people. We have shared. We continue to do so. Therefore, equity, simple human principle of equity, requires that we have some voice. To me, that is unpostponable, and it is irreproachable. So can we stop finding every excuse for not doing it?
And I think finally my recommendation would be you look for the gifts and talent that will bolster what you're trying to do here. So if medicine becomes key for healthcare, then you ask that one of those members be an expert in healthcare.
Sure.
So you have, if you need
education,
both of the education, you get somebody who's well known for their research and their background in education, because there's no shortage of Jamaicans.
Sure.
Those knowledge that person be put on, and that person could look at what's happening at UTech and the board. I'm gonna say Board of Education, for want of a better word, Ministry of Education, and see how you knit that together to make sure that the system is tight, and that all the children who come in from age 3, if that's how early you take them, to the day they leave, get a real good education.
Well, you see, but then you see, this is the important thing, because you are acknowledging that Jamaicans have inserted themselves into the diaspora communities, wherever, in very strategic ways. And my point is that our using this, our employing this, our relating to this is haphazard rather than intentional and structured. Pearnel has always said that the Singaporeans and others, they are intentional in whether it is searching for jobs or harvesting talent. We can do much better in that regard. Let me ask our friend Beau Regard at Irie Jam. Have you been listening to this? Any thoughts, any comments from what you've been hearing today with Una Clarke and Pearnel Charles and myself?
It's a very, very interesting conversation. I'm happy to be here listening as well as everyone here in the diaspora. To Dr. Una Clarke, I would just want to say, that she's a legend and an icon here in New York City. Definitely a friend of Irie Jam Radio and the whole Caribbean community, matter of fact. And someone who has always delivered for us, and the history that she has made here in New York City, in this being Women's History Month, I just want to say thank you for everything.
That's very gracious of you. I have a question to leave with all of us. Who's going to be the next Dr. Una Clarke, the next Honorable Pearnel Charles? Who is going to be where's the leadership coming from? Do you see it rising in the diaspora movement here, there? Well, there in particular. You see young people who are willing to engage their country of origin or country of descent. You see that, Beau, or is that what we have to promote?
Yes, I mean, I see a lot of people here in the diaspora, that are really into their roots and their country and their culture. So, Jamaica is no different. Big ups to all the Jamaicans here, man, that really represent and wave the flag of Jamaica. Earlier, you were mentioning something about the value systems and that we leave it sometimes when we leave Jamaica. But, and with the technology not being able to be reversed, I think that we could try in some way to incorporate those value systems into technology, a way in which, the kids of Jamaica or even here in the diaspora can, go on their computers or their iPads and, tune into Jamaica and really and truly keep in touch with everything Jamaican.
And learn wholesome things, eh?
Yes.
Not just banality and frivolity.
Ronnie, I think he's so right.
Yes.
That technology
yes.
has reached a stage today that a lot of what we are saying can't happen.
Yes.
It can easily happen.
And
I mean, we don't have to go one place to have a meeting anymore.
No, but look at it. The very instrument of the bridge
Yes.
is proof of that. Dr. Una Clarke, listen to me. You mustn't stay long. You're a pitcheri. You perch here and then you come here. But you come home now. Stay with us.
I am going to be home as often as I can be at home.
Yes.
And as soon as my term is up,
yes.
as a trustee for the City University of New York.
Yes. What a valuable role.
As a trustee, I will then be free to come because I took myself all of most of the boards that I served on,
yes.
but the City University
yes.
of New York is
Hold
key to me and
Absolutely.
the students
and
because there are so many immigrant students
sure.
and Caribbean Americans in particular.
Such as
can I disturb you to tell you that
only 30 seconds we have to go. He's an alumnus
I don't know.
of City College. You know
I'm a graduate of City College.
And Brooklyn Community College.
Listen to me.
Yes.
You can't exclude him at all.
we educated him and he came home he came home and did a good job with the education we gave him.
Public servant, Dr. Una Clarke.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Pearnel Charles, veteran public servant in Jamaica, both interacting with me on the Public Eye today. Thanks to our earlier guests, the Advocates Group, Dr. Rosalea Hamilton. It's been an interesting program. Beau Regard, thank you so much for your company. We always are grateful for the linkage with Irie Jam. Make sure you tune in next week on the Public Eye. To LaFane, Richie, everyone who has made this program possible, we say thanks.